You are listening to the Kentucky X-Files Season 3 with your hosts Dennis Mays, Tyler Stewart, and Josh Gibbs. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also visit us at www.kyxfiles.com. And now, on to our show.
You wouldn't even see it on my finger how much that would be in gold. Like, I couldn't even hold it in my hand.
Right.
Like, that. It's ridiculous how much the dollar has. It's nothing. We're going to be, like, here, like, years down the road, we're going to be taking stacks of cash and just using it to heat our homes.
Well, that's like going back to the whole gold standard, and Nixon and all that. It used to say, what was it? Backed by the gold standard or worth its weight in gold or something. I can't remember what it said, but they removed it and they changed it to legal tender.
Yeah.
And legal tender means that it can inflate up or deflate down at any moment, and there's not a fucking thing we could do about it. The only thing that sucks about that is that with the gold standard removed, you really are at the mercy of whatever decisions your government makes with your money. That's fucking frightening, and somehow we let this happen. Because when money starts getting thin, what do? They turn on them fucking printers.
Yeah.
They start printing currency and getting it into rotation, right?
Yep.
Every time they do, those printers are not owned by the government. Those printers are owned by a private corporation.
Yep.
So every dollar we get from them is what is it called? It's loaned at interest.
Right.
Which means even if you pay the very last dollar back in existence, you still owe them money. Which is that's so bad, like ass backwards. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, and it's so fucking stupid too. It's like, dude, our country is in so much fucking debt. We're dude, we've got our final notice like 600 times.
Yeah.
And then, oh shit, I miss a couple payments on my like medical bills. I get fucking calls out the ass. I hope that the president is getting calls daily like this. Hey, we're a collection agency. We really need you to like start making a payment plan whenever you get a chance.
Yeah.
We take Visa, MasterCard, or so it's like, come on.
Right.
It's like it just seems like, oh yeah, you're all out to get the working class people, but the government, we're the government. We control it. Who cares? It's like, fuck you guys. Like, Jesus.
I mean, look at that. I mean, the U.S. Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is your basic private organization that sponsors the government, right? The Federal Reserve is in charge of making the money happen and then taking it away from you again. At interest. So whoever came up with this, you can't sell me on this one that this one isn't probably the granddaddy of all conspiracy theories. The only thing you could do, like the only outcome of this system, is to perpetually work your people. There's no other outcome. You print money at interest. So I print $100. You owe me $110. That 10 doesn't exist unless I print it. Guess who you have to fucking borrow it from? Me. You have to borrow the 10 from me to pay me back. You borrow the 10 from me, it's 14 now. You know what I mean? Just right. I'm throwing out random numbers, but where's that other 4 coming from? Got to get it from me. You borrow it from me, start the cycle over again. The only outcome of this is that I keep the people just continuously working around the clock for their entire lives to try to pay it back. And then the whole time we can be saying, well, this deficit's out of control. Taxes are coming up because we can't get ahead of this,
Right.
And you got the play actors in the government all sitting there saying, like, we've got to cut spending here. We've got to cut spending here so we can handle it. No, y'all got to get your shit in line because you have a corrupt fucking system designed to keep us working for the rest of our lives with not a snowball's chance in hell of ever making a dent in it. You claim that you owe every country in the world. We don't ever really get to see those receipts, though, do we?
Right.
So it's kind of hard for me to get in on that one.
And then we also
owe
just
China $10 billion.
Yeah, but we also just pass out billions to other countries.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody said that in like a TikTok or a thing. It's like this. Out of all the countries, we want to be the bigger person and help out other countries and send all this money to other countries. But have we ever been the recipient of that from other countries?
No.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean to anybody else or any of that, but it's not like, okay, if I'm making a house payment and my next door neighbor is struggling or something because he doesn't have, like, he's working, but he can't make his house payment or something. It's not like I'm going to give him my money, and it's nothing against him, but I'm struggling too to make sure that I pay for my house where I'm living. It's not like I said, it's nothing against him. I wish I would help him as much as I could, but I can't put myself and my family at risk because of him.
Well, to think that, a lot of the other countries look at America and they go, well, must be nice. Must be nice. And you kind of have to say, well, what exactly? What is it that you think is nice?
Right.
What is it that you think we're not working nonstop for?
Right.
I mean, honestly, what is it? Dude, do you know, like, what was it? It was an announcement. It was I can't remember what president was, announced that work would be 5 days a week, 40 hours at minimum for full time. And at the time, nobody was working that much.
I don't think a president did it. I think
who was it?
Wasn't it Henry Ford that started the 40-hour work week?
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see.
But I think it was because there was other factories that were working their people like 16-hour days and ridiculous shit like that.
Yeah, I think that you got, that's it. Henry Ford.
And what he did was he took it to a 40-hour work week and just started adding people, realizing that once you've worked your people too many hours, you're not getting any more production out of them.
Yeah. All I'm saying is like, this system is fucked. I noticed, like, right now, if you go out right now and ask go ask your government, see if you can get a loan to start your own business. You say, try to buy a gas station.
Right.
That right there will literally clear the fucking air, because as soon as you, a citizen, try to buy a gas station, you're going to be met with all kinds of opposition. No, you can't. You got to have this. You got to have this much in the bank. You got to have this. No. All you have to do is be from a different country. If you come over from a different country, you need about 15 grand.
And it's like 3 years of tax-free.
Oh, it's longer than that now.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah. Wow. You get tax breaks for every owner as long as you're not, as long as they're not from here. And it's ridiculous, because you get the American people, the people born here, working here, trying to make a living here. They can't, unless they save up a ridiculous amount of overhead. They don't have any chance of getting into that structure at all. Mm-hmm. It's fucked. Like, that's why we don't really need made up monsters and creatures. We have one really big one.
Right.
Really big one, and it doesn't even try to hide it anymore.
And we built it.
We built it ourselves. Yeah. We were like, at some point of, several hundred years ago, we were like, man, kings and queens are the shit. We got to get away from this. This is terrible.
Right.
We need something where they can't rule over us with, ridiculous laws and that are unreasonable.
Let's get rid of one person ruling over all of us.
Let's get
Let's
a whole
make-
bunch of them.
Let's make a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, one was bad enough.
Yeah.
Then we'll build them a big place where they can get together and pat each other's asses about it.
Oh
And
yeah.
then just
While
randomly
pretending to
shut
be
down
one
the,
of us. Yeah.
and then shut down the government because they can't come to an agreement.
Oh my God, dude. When
Dude.
that shit was happening,
They're about to do it now. Because they can't come to an agreement on this whole spending bill. They
Yep.
want to send like half of this money from this bill to Ukraine, and then all the other stuff. I can't remember what it was, but there's a bunch of I want to say Republicans or
I don't understand
pushing
it. Ukraine should already have won by now. You know how many prayers we sent?
That stick. But
Everywhere I go, there's signs prayers with Ukraine. I'm like, damn, dude. I bet Russia rolled in there and be like, we cannot win this. They have too many prayers.
There's too many Americans thinking about them.
yeah,
Prayers with Ukraine. I'm sure while the bombs are flying at them, they're like, man, it's a good thing we have all these prayers.
Yeah.
No offense, but God doesn't have a great track record when in regards to wars and stuff. Doesn't like to intervene too much in our wars, you know? I'm just saying, like, what's the point? You know, this is something that's happening to another country full of people that made their own decisions. You know, not trying to be insensitive, but let's be realistic. We got a whole country of our own sitting here making bad decisions. And while we're worried about them over there, we're just getting worse. You know, it sucks, but
yeah,
my prayers are with you.
yeah.
It's going to help, I think. I don't know. You know?
But yeah, it was just
I'm not saying shitty about the people offering prayers. I'm not.
yeah.
What I'm getting at is that it doesn't really do much. You're going to send a bunch of money over there. What are they doing with it? Where are they spending it? They're under siege.
Yeah.
Right.
They're going to order from Amazon? Like, I don't understand.
DoorDash?
Yeah, like
Right. War Dash. Did you say?
Yeah, Wardash.
what happens? Like, does the pizza guy come rolling up and the Russians like stop and they're like, oh, hold up. Pizza guy coming through. Let him pass.
Lunchtime.
He's
It's
delivering
lunchtime.
their pizza. You know? What? I don't understand what it buys. You know, what does
Yeah.
it buy? What does it go for? You know,
And
obviously Ukraine's doing something right because they're still in it. Yeah.
but the one thing too is like, wouldn't you consider that aid? Giving them money?
Yeah.
Didn't
It
Russia?
would aid
Didn't
me.
Putin say if you help them, it's an act of war against Russia?
I think he did say something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know that had a lot of weight at the time.
Yeah.
Right as he was invading another country, that had a lot of weight then.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's like, oh, if you help them, it's an act of war, and Russia will react. He might as well just been like nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
We have them. But see, the rest of the world is sitting here going, sure is taking you guys a long fucking time to take out this tiny little ass country.
Right.
Maybe we'll just go ahead and send them a few things anyway. Because if you're having that much problem with them, imagine taking us on. I mean,
Yeah, no shit.
if there's one country in the world that kind of has the fuck around and find out mentality, we're kind of over here like, hey, Russia, don't forget about us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they're like, he's imposing his will on Ukraine or whatever. And you know what? I'm not even going to invalidate why he wants to do it. I get it. I totally understand his reasons. I don't support it, but I understand. He doesn't want a UN ally on his doorstep. Duh. Of course he doesn't. Why would you want a bunch of your enemies right on your border? That's pretty logical, you know. Take away all the bullshit and all the, you know, the protests and all that, or what they say, you know, blah, 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 blah. He doesn't want enemies at his doorstep. Simple as that. I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. But again, it sure is taking him a long time to take on this tiny ass little country. They seem to be getting their jabs in just as much as he is. You know, was it dude I ride with at work, Big Adam. Big Adam tells me, he says, dude, I think that he's just getting rid of old arms.
He's like, oh, these are about to expire. Let's go shoot them off.
He stands behind it. He's like, go on there and look at the shit that Russia's sending in. He's like, it's all outdated shit. He's like, I think he's just getting rid of it. He's like, yeah, let's push this shit out. We got to make room for all of our new stuff. Like, I mean,
God, that would like that whole thing. If that's the case, he is more of a shitty person than I've ever thought. Like, come on, like, okay, there's a difference between saying like what you were saying. It's like he didn't want a UN ally at his doorstep,
right?
But it's actually more petty than that, or more self-centered, or something. It's like, oh, we can't stockpile this old shit. Let's get rid of it. Let's just go to war with Ukraine. Like that would be like that whole thing. Them in their fucking like his oval office thing.
I don't know. I can see some credence to this, because if you think about it,
right?
Russia won World War II. Like, we like to say we did,
yeah,
but they really put a huge hurt on everything.
Oh yeah,
you know. So these guys are like, you know, a war superpower when they want to be. So why would it take them so long to fiddle around in the Ukraine?
Maybe that's just exactly what it is. They're fiddling around.
Like, they're warming up.
Dude, they could totally...
Don't say that.
They could totally probably like just zerg Ukraine if they wanted to. And they just don't. And Ukraine is just smacking them down left and right. I watch videos that come through where Ukraine is just taking it to them, man. Like, just beating the brakes off of these dudes. And I'm sitting here like, this seems odd, you know? And meanwhile, Russia is very, very adamant, you know, like, hey, nobody else step in. We don't want to go Ivan Drago on you guys.
Yeah, we'll break.
We're like, dude, we will fucking send Rocky over there like that.
Right.
You say the word, motherfucker. We'll roll up.
There are Americans over there fighting.
Yeah.
But it's
they're independent contractors, the special teams that have built themselves, and they're basically just taking donations of guns and vehicles and going over there and just wrecking shit.
It's just terrible that, okay, if it's something like you're saying, like what you said, Big Adam was saying, like he was just getting rid of old stuff. It's like, man, and if he's allowing them to come in and just, oh yeah, man, they're hurting us, like getting people killed, his own people killed, because he just wants to make it look like it's an actual war between another country. That's like it's more cynical than you actually want to believe it is.
Okay, so
it's just petty as.
I've got something that could even add more credence to that just popped in my head. So what if it's more than he's just getting rid of old stockpiles? What if he's using his old equipment and his old, arms, and not really putting a major effort in, knowing that if he just uses the littlest bit, he's going to slowly wear the Ukraine out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's a tactic to, you throw out a bunch of guys with AK-47s and antiquated equipment,
right,
and let the Ukraine burn up all their stocks fighting these guys. And then you're like, okay, cool, here comes the real stuff.
Let's see.
It's like a pawn,
Yeah.
Like, if you play chess, you send your pawns out, and then when it's time, that's when your rooks and your bishops come out.
I mean, maybe,
I get that, but man, it's I don't know. I guess it's like more of like a moral thing for me, is that I just can't see somebody, especially a leader, would do that. Allow, like, when you say pawns, I get it. It's chess. It's a game. But this is lives. These are people.
Yeah, but you can't
Right.
think. Whenever you're in war, you can't think of it like that. That's the whole reason presidents' sons don't go to the front line. You have to have a clear head. You cannot think of them as people. They are tools, and that's how you have to. Because the second you use compassion
Mhm.
and you worry about the men on the front to the point where you're worried about this one's wife, this one's brother, you've immediately lost the war.
Yeah, I know.
That's the cold-hearted nature behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like this whole like whole scenario is just it's just fucked. Like I get it, but then again, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
no matter what, I hate to say it, but uh we're all living in a way we're just ignoring it, but we're all living in fear, even if there's no war going on, like like the war in Ukraine. We're still living in fear that we're not even thinking about it. All the countries that actually have nuclear weapons, they're all fingers on the trigger
Yeah.
at all times.
Yeah. See that?
One will shoot, we all will shoot. It doesn't matter.
That's kind of the
Like,
thing too, is that Russia's always threatened that,
mhm.
with their Tsar bomb, the it's like the biggest nuke in the world.
Yeah.
It's like on the ground. If you take the two biggest in the world and you put them on the ground against each other, on the ground, Russia is superior. Right.
Right.
Their tanks, they outnumber tanks. They outnumber all their artillery. Like just the ground stuff. In the ocean, pretty evenly matched. But that's it. It's over after that. Right. Once you go to the air, there's no one on the planet that can match us. Nobody has the ability to match our air, and he's got his finger on the trigger, like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna press this fucking, I'm gonna think this dude. I'm gonna microwave a country. You guys keep fucking with me. And we're over here like, we're built from war for war, right? And so we're over here like, do it, bitch. Fucking do it. You want us to push it for you? We'll push it for you. We got theirs too.
Right.
The only difference between us is that we've got way more ways to get them to you.
Right.
That's just the thing. Because you think whichever one comes out on top is rich as fuck and never going to have to worry about another one again.
Yeah.
You guys want to go move over to America Part 2 or
Right.
Russia Part 2?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't know.
It's just like that. Well, that's the thing. Like, okay, that Tsar bomb, like these are nuclear weapons. So, like, what's the fallout? Like, how? Like, it's 35 years. What
Yeah.
would be the range if it, like, say it hit right smack dab in the middle of the United States? Like, what?
All of
Like,
us.
what's?
All of them.
Yeah, I know that like all of us would die, but how long will how far will the fallout spread?
Oh,
How
Canada would be gone. Mexico would be gone. Yeah, it would
and
probably, and if there was enough like ocean winds and things, that it would probably wipe out South America and part of Africa. It would
it's just
decimate. One Tsar bomb is huge, and the impact from it would. I mean, there's a solid chance that even parts of Russia might not make it.
Man, it's
Yep.
just like that kind of thing. Like, do you really want to win? Do we really want to win that badly?
Right, because it would put the Tsar bomb would put us all into nuclear winter.
Yeah. So,
And then when that
like,
happens, you've just extinguished the human race because you can't grow crops. And if there's no crops to grow, there's nothing for the animals to eat and nothing for you to eat.
Yeah.
so yeah, that's like what I'm
58
saying.
megatons.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like what's the point?
What's the actual blast radius of it?
Let's see here. Let's see.
I'm just curious how many miles is affected by the initial devastation.
So I'm looking right now for it here, because they have tested it before. They've dropped one and tested it.
Yeah, but it didn't have a full load on it, did it?
And that's another thing too. Is like, do we I might be a little ignorant on this. Like, we have nuclear bombs around, like in the States, right? Like nuclear.
Yeah. Yeah, we've
So,
detonated them.
well, no, I meant like ones that could be shot off right now,
Mhm.
like in the United States.
Absolutely. Yes.
So what I was saying is that if that hits us in the like the range, like you were saying, is pretty big. If it would have hit one of those, like exploded, and the explosion hit another one of our bombs, and we didn't shoot off, that would cause like just a domino effect. I didn't know.
It's kind of like a fire in a fireworks factory. Is that what you're getting
Yeah.
at? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how that works with the warheads
Yeah.
because I'm pretty sure they have to be armed
Yeah.
to
But
detonate.
it would well, okay, yeah, it would have to be armed to detonate, but it's still radiation. Like it would it would crack open,
Mm-hmm.
like the pieces would go everywhere, and then
Oh,
that's more radiation. That's
well,
more like,
and think about what will happen if it hit a nuclear power plant.
yeah.
You know,
I'm just saying, like what I just like what I hate the most about that is that we have these just asshole just people that just want to be on top, that is willing to just sacrifice all of us just to be on top.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
Okay.
And
Oh, good. Yes, sir.
I was going to
No,
say,
I was just saying.
and I have a scientifically possible theory behind that I was going to talk about, but this show's just going so well that I'm just shutting up about it, and we could do it on the next episode and I'll save everything, but I'll drop a little hint because we've only got like 5 minutes left anyways. Lead. Have you guys heard this theory?
I don't know.
So the reason, there's a theory that the reason why the silent and the boomer generations were so war hungry and had so little empathy for other people is because they were all basically poisoned with lead for half a century.
What?
Like lead paint?
Like
And
lead
stuff like-
gas, lead paint, everything. Lead was in
Wow.
everything. So I have a whole thing that I was going to bring up, but this show's gone so well that I'll save it for the following week. And
I got you some specs here on the Czar too.
all right, let's hear that. Let's hear that, and then we can let
Dude,
these
we
people
got
have
to
their
go
day.
into that lead poisoning thing on the next one. Holy shit. Like, I want to know more about that.
Yep.
Okay, so the test was done October 17th, 1961. All of the results were published on October 30th. Oh, my bad. No, I got this backwards. Okay. They announced the test on October 17th. The information about the test was published around September 8th. The Tsar bomb itself was tested on October 30th. I'm probably not saying this right, but Tupolev Tu-95V aircraft took off from the Olenia airfield, and it flew to State Test Site number 6 of the USSR Ministry of Defense, located in Novaya Zemlya, with a crew of 9. Okay, so check this out. The bomb itself was 30 tons. It was so large. It was 26 feet long, 6 foot 11 inches in diameter. It was so big that the Tu-95 had to have its bomb bay doors and fuselage fuel tanks removed. The bomb was attached to an 800 kilogram, 1,800 pounds, 1,600 square meter, which is 17,000 square feet parachute, which gave the release and observer planes time to get out, because they had to get at least 28 miles away from ground zero. And that gave them a 50% chance of surviving the test.
50%.
The bomb was released 2 hours after takeoff at a height of 34,000 feet on the test target. The Tsar bomb detonated at 11:32 or 11:33. USGS earthquake monitors list the event occurring at 11:33:31 Moscow time on October 30th, 1961. Over the Mityushka Bay nuclear testing range at a height of 13,780 feet. Let's see here. by the time the Tu-95 had already escaped to 24 miles away, and the Tu-16 was 33 miles away, when the detonation occurred, the shockwave caught up to them at 71 miles away.
Holy shit.
The Tu-16 got the Tu-16 plane, the observer plane, was caught at 127 miles away. The 95 dropped 1 kilometer, which is 0.662 of a mile, in the air because of the shockwave, but it was able to recover. According to initial data, the Tsar bomb had a nuclear blast yield of 58 megatons. It significantly exceeded what the design itself would have suggested and was overestimated at values all the way up to 75 megatons. The fireball, which I'm going to show you guys right now, this is the fireball of the blast, which it's going to look like the sun.
Right.
Let's see. Although simplistic fireball calculations predicted it would be large enough to hit the ground, the bomb's own shockwave bounced back and prevented this. The 8-kilometer wide or 5-mile fireball reached nearly as high as the altitude of the release of the plane and was visible from 620 miles away. The mushroom cloud was 42 miles high, nearly 8 times the height of Mount Everest, which meant that the cloud was above the stratosphere. It's fucking amazing.
So the mushroom cloud was as big as the 275 loop.
Yeah. And then both aircrafts were painted with a special reflective paint to minimize heat damage. Despite that, the crews were both still given only 50% chance of surviving the test.
Wow.
Yeah. So the only downside of the Tsar bomb is, although it is mega powerful, it has a tendency of blasting itself up.
Right.
So instead of like you get a shockwave that goes out, but most likely your fallout is not going to be as big as an issue because it's going to go up and out.
Yeah, but once it goes up, it's got to go somewhere.
It's got to go somewhere, but
it was more of a delayed.
It's kind of a spread thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas like you think like some of the smaller bombs, like go back to like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they hit, they're not as powerful, so there's plenty of like lax air pressure to let that fallout just seep out and demolish, you know, whatever it wants to. So it's kind of like one of those overkill, you know what I mean? Like it's a major overkill. The bomb itself it'll do significant damage, but it has a very self-defeating kind of way about it. You know, its own shock blast kind of removes the immediate, you know, but a 5-mile fireball is still, that's enough for me to be like, that's, you know, that's terrible. I don't want to be in that.
Yeah.
Because what's going to survive it? Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I was getting at was why do we have to have this stuff? In a way I understand it.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm like, do you really want to be that right?
Right. Yeah. That's a really good way to put that.
It's like I just get like this kind of stuff makes me sick. It just like I understand there's like it's war. This is how war goes, and we put every country puts so much money into defense and whatever. It just I don't know, like it just like it makes me I'm very unsettled that like us talking here right now, it could end right now just because they choose to launch.
Right. I mean,
and everything that we hold as value to us is just gone.
You gotta like think that there's folks whose job it is to know if that thing's on its way. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
for the Tsar, I'll say, unfortunately for the Tsar bomb, it's not exactly a bomb that's going to be strapped to a missile and sent here. It has to be carried in a very vulnerable plane. Everything has to be paid for. Everything has is, you know what I mean? They made the biggest bomb, the biggest, nuclear bomb ever. Well, the biggest nuclear bomb ever is heavy as fuck, and it takes a lot to get it there. It's not going to get here fast. And let's put it that way. Okay. You're trying to get this bomb to a place with air superiority. And your only way of delivering it is in an airplane that's the only one that's capable of lifting this bomb. You know what I mean? So it's one of those deals where it's like, yes, they do have it. Are we freaking out in America about it? Not really. Because as soon as we get even a hint that that son of a bitch is on its way, they'll have the hornet's nest on it in no time.
Right.
It's like, we think we got planes out there that are, running, they're doing exercises. They could go and intercept that thing and be back by lunch. You know what I mean? These guys run that's the test they run. That's the training they do. It's like, well, here's the simulation. You got this plane, it's hauling this bomb. If it hits a city 5 miles of our country is gone. You got to get rid of it over the ocean. You got to get rid of it here. You got to do this, So it's one of those things. Plus, too, is like, you got to think too that nuclear bombs are kind of finicky. They have to be detonated in a certain way. You know what I mean? So if you hit that bomb with a missile, especially if you hit it in the right place, it's just going to hit the ocean and sink. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, there's a certain way that a nuclear bomb is triggered to explode. So if you blow it up, it's just blown up. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's why I think that even though they have it over here in America, we're still kind of like, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm more along the lines is just we're already like at full capacity here. Are like I feel like the Galactic Police should have already escorted us out because we're over fire code on this planet.
Right.
And our first idea is just to make the building smaller, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
that's for all of us. That's including us. We have them. Everybody has them. I just fear in the way that everybody in the world is at risk of this kind of shit just because, like I said, do we like just one person or their government wants to be right.
Yeah. I mean, we have in America, they built, this multi-billion dollar giant bomb, and our ground missile defense in America is $200 billion. I mean, there's like, because you got to think that we're like, well, we got a good feeling that Russia would never do it unless they were desperate. They wouldn't do it.
Right.
But you take little crazy fuckers like the guy up in North Korea or something. He's got something to prove. He's trying to like show, hey, and I'm badass too. Watch this. Sends
Right.
it. Never, dude. It'll never get across the ocean.
Right.
We'll have that thing stung like nothing.
Right.
And they hate it. But that's the way our government works. We're like, hey, we're the assholes here. You don't get to be the assholes.
We're the bullies.
We're the bullies.
Yeah.
If anybody's bombing anybody, it's us.
It's
God
our
damn it.
schoolyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to talk about bombs? We got bombs. I mean, you think about it. Our anti-missile bombs are bigger than most countries' offensive bombs.
Right.
Yeah, I just saw one that's in around Alaska,
Yeah.
a missile base that the way that it's designed is it has this little this capsule thing that once it launches in the air and it opens up, and this thing's supposed to match the speed of the rocket, and it shoots something at it and like in the air.
Yeah.
It's like, so I thought that was pretty cool.
You think eventually, I mean, they'll probably, because you know they're getting into the asteroid rockets, like retro rockets and stuff. They can land on an asteroid and push it. Imagine if like we get to the point in our defense where we just launch these little rockets that stick to the side of theirs and just turn it around and send it back to them.
Return to sender.
Yeah. No thanks. We got plenty of those over here. You just keep it. We're just gonna go ahead and Amazon that right back to you. Yeah.
Yeah, that one's defective. You should totally
Why'd you blow yourself up, Butterfingers?
yeah, put a finger. This is terrible.
Stop nuking yourself. Stop nuking yourself.
Stop making-
That's terrible. So bad. Okay. All jokes aside, we're not making fun of anybody. All this, I just want to reiterate that
We're making fun of Russia all day long. America. Bring it on, Russia. Nah.
So,
I mean, this is tame compared to what some people say.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Some people are out there like, yeah, fuck them. Why don't you fight us? Fight somebody your own size,